have a great recipe for gluten-free, dairy-free fudge for you. First thing we need to do is take an 8 by 8 inch square baking dish and line it with foil. So you want your foil to be about 3 inches longer on each end of the pan so that you can press it in, mold it to the pan, curve your edges under. You'll use these for a little handle later to lift this out. And I've sprayed mine lightly with some vegetable cooking spray. You can oil it with olive oil or vegetable oil. So you want to set this aside, and in a large saucepan, I have my candy thermometer attached already, a clip-on. This is helpful because you'll get the exact temperature you need. You don't need it on just yet. And I've got 3 cups of white sugar. I'm going to add 2/3 of a cup of cocoa. I'm using a dark Valrhona. Use what you like. Need a pinch of salt. That's about 1/8 of a teaspoon. And I have a can of organic coconut milk. And this is not the light. You want the full fat coconut milk. And you'll see the fat rises to the top just like cream does in a dairy product. And then you'll have the liquid inside. You want the whole can. What we want to do is cook this over medium heat until our sugar melts. Now, I've already got my heat going here. You can hear the sizzle. So I'm just going to take my candy thermometer off for just a sec. And you want your sugar to dissolve completely. You can stir during this process. Once the sugar is completely dissolved, we're going to bring this to a boil and cook it to 234 degrees without stirring. It's been about 10 minutes and our fudge is coming to a full boil. I'm turning the heat down just a little. We've got our thermometer on, and when you position your thermometer on the side of your saucepan, if you have the clip-on type, you want to make sure that the bottom, you can fit your spoon sort of underneath so it's not touching the bottom of the hot pot because it'll skew your temperature reading. So we're going to wait. We're at 214 now. We're waiting for 234. And then we'll pull this off the heat and add 2 tablespoons of Earth Balance soy-free buttery spread and a teaspoon of vanilla, and we will not stir. I've already turned the heat up once, but if it comes up from the bottom too hot, too suddenly, then you're going to get the bottom probably 1.5 inches cooked at a different temperature than the top is. You don't let the heat sort of permeate the whole dish. So we've come up, in 1.5 minutes we've come up 1 degree. But we want to make sure we keep the heat increase very slow. If you look at the bubbles now versus when you started your full boil, they were larger and they've gotten smaller, and they'll continue to get smaller throughout the process of cooking the fudge because the mixture becomes more dense, and so you want to see smaller bubbles. You see how across the whole surface it's sort of a tight collection of little bubbles. So it's been about 10 minutes and our fudge mixture is reducing slightly in the pot. We've still got a lot of happy tiny bubbles going on. We're at 221 degrees. We are not stirring, and we're increasing the heat gradually. So we need to be at 234 degrees for the fudge to be ready to take off the heat, so we'll check back in a few minutes. Okay, so our fudge is up to 234 degrees. We want to take our heat off. We don't want to stir this. Leave your candy thermometer right in place and very carefully, try not to disturb the mixture, move it to an eye of your stove with no heat, and we want to add a couple tablespoons of Earth Balance buttery spread. Put those right in. Don't stir it. Don't stir it. We want a teaspoon of vanilla extract. Put that right in. And again, don't stir. We want this mixture to cool down to about 125 degrees. So that'll take a little while. Leave your thermometer on and leave it in the pot, and we'll come back. Okay, so our fudge has cooled down. We haven't stirred it yet. It's now at 124 degrees. You need to make sure it's right at 125. 124 is close enough. So we'll take our thermometer out. And what we need to do now is take our spoon and vigorously stir. Get the Earth Balance and the vanilla stirred in quickly. We want to vigorously stir this until the mixture loses its gloss. It's very shiny now. It'll have a matte finish, and it'll take several minutes to get it to this point. And you want to have your prepared 8x8 baking dish that's lined with foil and sprayed with cooking spray or oiled nearby for this part, because when you get it to the point where it has a matte finish and it has lost its gloss, you want to pour it right into your pan, and then we'll let it harden at room temperature before we take it out and slice it. Okay, so we have been vigorously stirring our fudge for about 6 minutes, and you can see that it's lost a lot of the gloss and it has a matte finish now, and it's much, much thicker. So what we need to do is just finish up our stirring. And when I say vigorous, I mean vigorous stirring. You really got to put your muscle into this one. It's worth it though. So we need to go over to our prepared pan. Pull this over. We just want to pour the fudge right in. And you want to spread this on top with the back of your spoon. And this can sit at room temperature. And you have to be patient with the fudge. It'll take a while. You want it to completely cool. Isn't that pretty? Make sure you spread it all the way to the edges. And when you're happy with the finish you have on the top, set it to the side. Do not cover it. Don't put it in the refrigerator. And we'll come back and I'll show you how to take it out of the pan and slice it up. It's been about 45 minutes and our fudge is already set and ready to slice. So we lined this baking dish with foil earlier. Let me show you why. You just unravel these little wings here. Look how easy that lifts right up. Put this on a cutting board. Move your baking dish out of the way. You just pull your foil back here. And just take a large sharp knife. You can cut this. I like to cut mine into small squares. And you can keep yours even, I didn't. You turn this. You can put these right over. Doesn't that look good? And these are ready to serve right at room temperature. You can store this for a week at room temperature if you like in an airtight container. Or if you like your fudge cold, you can take it to the fridge in an airtight container. And if you're like me and you have friends that you want to share this with, just cut it into sections. Take a piece here. Just take a piece, I have a piece of aluminum foil and then a piece of wax paper about the same size. Just wrap a chunk here. Wrap your wax paper around it, fold it under nice and snug, then seal this up with foil. And it's ready to give to somebody special. And this will keep in the freezer for up to 3 months, so you can make it in advance for your holidays and have it ready to go when the time comes. Enjoy.